Right now at 6, another night on patrol when all of a sudden...
Step back.
How police officers narrowly escaped being hit by a suspected drunk driver and what happened next.
Plus, the local university offering a new path to convince more students to become teachers.
Wow, this is exactly the program that I need to finish this out.
And an iconic outdoor outfitter about to shut down in the Pearl.
I know a lot of businesses have had to bar up their windows.
With neighbors now wondering what comes next.
Stand back, guys, stand back.
Wow, call it way too close for comfort as a driver allegedly under the influence slams into the back of a Milwaukee police patrol car. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm David Molko. Body cam video capturing those frightening moments from multiple angles, and now that driver is under arrest. Let's get right to John Adams live tonight in Milwaukee. So John, walk us through how this all unfolded.
Yeah, David, thankfully officers were out of their vehicle making an arrest in an unrelated incident when that driver slammed into the back of their patrol car. But you can see from the video that officers were narrowly able to escape serious injury or worse.
Stand back, guys, stand back.
Body camera video shows Milwaukee police officers and a suspect in custody just feet away from being hit by a car. Police say the driver behind the wheel of a black Chevy Camaro was drunk and driving without lights on. We spoke with Officer Zane Odom with Milwaukee PD today.
They can wipe out any of us.
Who told us officers are putting themselves at risk when working on the side of a road.
And the car itself is that ballistic bullet, if you will. And especially for officers or construction workers standing out on the road, you know, they're prime suspects or prime targets for being struck and killed by these missiles.
The driver of that vehicle was transported to a local hospital where they were arrested by Clackamas County deputies and charged with DUII. Officer Odom told us the incident could have been much worse if one of their officers hadn't noticed the approaching car.
Step back.
He basically saved people's lives that night by telling them to get out of the way. And the patrol car ended up where the officers were standing.
This is just the latest example of a civilian vehicle hitting a patrol car. Just hours before the incident in Milwaukee, a pulled over Portland police vehicle was hit by a driver on I-205, sending 2 PPB officers and the driver who hit them to the hospital. And earlier this week, 6 Washington Department of Transportation workers in Vancouver were hospitalized when their pulled over vehicle was hit by a suspected drunk driver going 60 miles per hour.
Step back.
These incidents serve as a reminder of just how dangerous it can be to work in close proximity to distracted or impaired drivers, a threat that is always back of mind for officers when they are out on the job.
What I say every day when I leave my house is I tell my wife I love her. And if that's the last time, then that's the last time, and she'll know, and my family will know. But that's what we do. We prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Well, Officer Odom is also encouraging the public to call 911 if they see an impaired driver on the roadway. He says that's the best way they can make sure drunk drivers are off the streets. David?
Yeah, it seems to be happening more and more often. Just glad everybody is okay. Thank you, John. In your headlines this evening, a Milwaukee man has been arrested for his alleged role in the January 6th attack. The FBI arrested Andy Stephen Oliva Lopez of Milwaukee on Tuesday. Authorities have identified him as the so-called blue plaid sprayer who wore a gas mask and aimed a spray canister at officers. Charging documents allege that he bought a 2-pack of bear spray canisters at a Portland sporting goods store shortly before driving to Washington, D.C. Oliva Lopez is now facing multiple charges, including civil disorder and assaulting a police officer. We're learning that the man who allegedly ran over and killed a bicyclist from Portland last year in Polk County has now been charged with criminally negligent homicide. A grand jury returned this indictment last month. Back on June 10th, Adam, Joy, and his 15-year-old son were cycling along Highway 221 outside of McMinnville when authorities say Joy was run over from behind by a pickup truck driven by Robert Weeks. The initial police report said Joy fell in front of Weeks' pickup as he slowed and tried to pass. Now, Joy's family disputes that account. Weeks is due in court in late March. Tonight, Portland Public Schools has unveiled where it plans to send students who cannot return to their schools because of storm damage. Now, those from Robert Gray Middle School will be going to Jackson Middle School starting next Tuesday. That's until repairs are completed sometime in February. We've also just learned that Markham Elementary students will be assigned to 4 other schools. Families impacted should be getting an email with more information. And Portland City Commissioner Dan Ryan says he is running for one of 12 seats on the new city council. He made the announcement today during Straight Talk with Laurel Porter. Ryan lives in North Portland, so if elected, he'd be representing the brand new District 2. He says it's an area he knows well.
A lot of milestones have taken place there, from baptism, kindergarten, graduating from high school. My mom graduated from University of Portland after raising 8 children. My dad's business, family dentistry, was in St. John's for over 30 years. So that's always been my town within the city.
So far, Ryan's fellow commissioners Mingus Mapps, Renee Gonzalez, and Carmen Rubio say they are all running for mayor. Ashley?
Relatively nice day today. We just had a few showers. Take a look at our radar here over the last 3 hours. You can see those pretty light over much of western Oregon and southwest Washington, though we did see those kind of dry up here in the last few hours. Take a look outside right now at Pioneer Square in downtown Portland. We're looking at just about 50 degrees, but we did surpass 50 degrees today, and we're going to see those warm temperatures stick with us all the way through the weekend, even making it up to nearly 60 degrees on Sunday. Even though we're dry now, though, we're not going to see that stay with us. We're going to see more rain, and that's going to come in tomorrow morning before that morning commute, and it's going to stick with us all the way through the weekend. So we can expect some pretty heavy showers to pick up tomorrow through the day, all the way into Saturday. We'll talk more about that and how much rain we can expect to get coming up.
Yeah, 50s and 60s, big change though. Thank you, Ashley. Well, let's talk about graduation rates this evening, because in Oregon, the Department of Education says 2023 saw the second highest graduation rate ever, and that's for a class of high school students that felt the full force of the pandemic. Tim Gordon here to break down those numbers for us.
Well, that's right. The overall graduation rate held at 81.3%, the same as in 2022. Oregon had more than 37,000 graduates last year, students whose first year of high school sent them home starting in the spring because of COVID. And then most all of their sophomore year was the same, remote classes before transitioning back to in-school learning. The data shows that despite that, educators and students persevered. In the Hillsborough district, for example, they graduated 86.3% in 2023, just about a point less than in 2022, and well above the state average. The district also improved with Hispanic Latino graduates, more than a point better than the year before, and for former English learners, a better than 4% improvement year to year. It's been a focus for the district.
I also think just, again, having students back in, working on language, getting kids to talk again, all of those components for our students that are language learners really helped us make some improvements in that area.
Now let's broaden it out again. Again, 81.3% the graduation rate statewide. But let's look at a couple groups that didn't do quite as well. We're talking about American Indian, Alaska Native students, 68.2%, about 7.7% less than the year before. Black African American students, 73.1%, also down a little bit. And Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander students at 74.6%, about 1.3% better than in 2022. Now we'll also talk about migrant students. 81.4% graduated in 2023, just a little bit above the average the year before. And finally, former English learners. Those are students who learned English before getting into high school. 87.6% graduated in 2023. That's 6.3% above the Oregon statewide average. Back to you.
Thank you, Tim. Let's talk about teachers now. Thomas Schultz joining us to highlight a way we can get more teachers into the classrooms.
Yeah, David, there's a new path that's being developed, and it's all because of a shortage and the fact that there are hurdles to get licensed. So bottom line, a new program aims to give aspiring teachers an alternative.
So how many pieces are there? Remember, we just counted? 16, yep. So
ever since Melissa Aranda was in 3rd grade, she wanted to teach.
You have a lot of pieces, or a lot of parts, right?
So she went through an online program and got her master's. Though when she tried to get a teaching license, she failed.
I kind of was defeated at that point.
So instead, she took a job at Fernhill Elementary in the Forest Grove School District as a special education instructional assistant.
and stayed in that role for a decade, though recently that changed.
But your first job is just going to cut out your fraction friend.
Last year, Aranda enrolled in a residency program at Pacific University, which allows people to instead get their teaching license while working in the classroom.
And to me, that's the most authentic experience.
Rather than submit a final portfolio graded by the state, teachers in the residency program have mentors who offer feedback over 11 months.
Our model is a very high one-on-one support.
Kevin Carr is the chair of alternative programs at Pacific University. He says 50 teachers have already gained licensure through the program. And statewide, he says there are 2,100 teachers working on temporary licenses who still need a permanent teaching license.
We have to broaden access to teaching professions to include a broader range of people.
And the 4-year-old program comes at a time when many aren't going into teaching.
There's not a bunch of people banging out the door to be a teacher.
Possibly opening doors for many who always envisioned a life in the classroom.
People say, oh, you're living the dream. I'm literally living my dream.
Living her dream, and that's all due to a program that's relatively new and at this time still not very well known. Now, one school district that's benefited maybe more than any other from this program, Salem-Keizer. And David, that's the second biggest district in the state.
Yeah, opening doors now and into the future. Thank you, Thomas. Coming up at 6, tracking homelessness in Clark County, how teams there reached out today to try to get a more accurate number. And a longtime Portland store about to shut down permanently. What's behind this latest departure from the heart of the Rose City? And coming up on the story at 6:30, Pat Dorr sits down with the City of Portland's elections director. November's vote could be the most consequential in recent memory as residents select who will run a brand new form of city government. Pat has a step-by-step guide on how to get involved now. That's coming up at 6:30.